it's really not too much of a stretch to imagine that people are watching TikTok videos more than they're watching television itself. Well, we were learning some information about TikTok now that TikTok's provided about some of the things that have been going on with their app and how people have really responded to it roughly a year after the pandemic has started. So here's what we got. We now have a rare semi-official snapshot of TikTok's numbers, and it shows the reach and audience for 2021. So here's what we got. So what's happening is that TikTok is right now pitching advertising agencies for advertising. And they were going in the United States using a business-to-business pitch deck under its TikTok for Business sub-brand. So now the deck is leaked out, and here's the information we're learning about TikTok's audience and their behavior. So as of October 2020, according to TikTok's own analytics, the TikTok app was reaching 732 million monthly active users around the world. Wow. 100 million in the U.S. alone. So if 1 out of 3 people have TikTok on their app and are watching it every month, that's crazy. And then if you look at 732 million, you're talking about like 1 out of every 10 people in the world have TikTok on their phones. Now that is more than double of Spotify's global monthly active user base at the end of 2020, 345 million. Well, that's in half of the 2 billion plus logged in monthly active users on YouTube. So that's the lexicon of how people are watching their programming. So that said, we should also look at what was in October 2020 was 6 months before the article was published, because they talked about when will TikTok hit 1 billion users. Well, it's likely to have added tens of millions of monthly active users to that subscription number since it was recorded. So let's move along. According to the deck, TikTok's average user opens the app no less than 19 times a day. I know I open it about 6 or 7 a day. But again, the idea of how many people are engaged on TikTok, I say but again, which has become a crutch of mine, and I'm catching myself saying it. I need to get it out of my system. Because on my other podcasts, I've been pointing it out. Now I'm doing it on when I'm not podcasting because it bears repeating. So 19 times in an average in a day. Now this is also coming from TikTok's internal data sources as of January 2021. The other thing they talk about is that the average TikTok user actively uses their app 89 minutes a day, an hour and a half. That's nuts. But what this story from Music Business Worldwide that I'm taking it from does not tell you about, which is what got me interested, was how does it compare to television? Well, it's a story that came out from Yahoo Life that talked specifically about a younger audience fleeing TV. So the audience would probably be on TikTok. They're not watching television as much. So here's what we got. The story talks about how the ongoing depreciation of the traditional cable bundle and what amounts to a generational indifference to a habit that goes back more than 60 years have made it prudent for advertisers to start sizing up cemetery plots. The wholesale defection of teenagers from the TV watching ranks amounts to a real logistical nightmare for anyone who's trying to sell lip gloss, bubblegum, and benzoyl peroxide. So the young adult audience is bad news for just about everyone with a vested interest in being in business 20 years from now. So here's what we're learning from this. Now, they're talking about advertiser-supported television. That doesn't mean people are not watching a television set. They're just not watching television in the traditional sense. Through antenna, through cable, which also includes local TV channels. People are not watching your traditional television in the free format we have. They're watching it probably they're watching Netflix, or they're watching Roku, or Amazon Prime, or Amazon Fire Stick, or whatever else, or Apple TV. They're using certain devices that connect to their TVs, or their TVs connect to apps, and they're doing it that way. So that's what's changing. So here's what we have in terms of the consumption of television compared to the TikTok consumption. So Nielsen's latest total audience report, TV is losing whatever fascination it had for adults 18 to 34. In the third quarter of 2020, the crowd averaged 452 minutes of viewing per week. So an hour and 5 minutes a day. So TikTok. Now, I just want to double check this. The TikTok information, 89 minutes a day. 89 minutes a day for TikTok. And television, an hour, 5 minutes. 65 minutes. That's where we are. 65 minutes. Now, that's a 23% drop from the year before. And millennials and your younger siblings in the far end of the Gen Z range average 583 minutes of TV per week. And that's down 34%. So millennials and Gen Z, if you break that down, that takes you to about 82, 83 minutes. And TikTok still gets more eyeballs on it. People are watching television, watching TikTok more than TV. So it's a fact now. It has changed. The digital disruption is real. It's happening. And now we're turning the corner. When TikTok has more viewing hours than television, that's a game changer. And I'm learning about that as you are on this When I'm Not Podcasting episode. So then compared to the same 3-month period 5 years ago, adults 18 to 34 spent in front of the tube was down 77%, which means young adults are now watching 1,500 fewer minutes of TV than they did in 2015. So pre-streaming, television, you had all these cable channels. You were binge watching whatever shows were on, and you were just flipping channels. It's not even happening now. It's changed. So the young adults are now cutting back on their use of TV. It's a matter of considerable vexation for the sports world. They're not watching television. They're just watching it somewhere else. And sports is also being concerned because now there's a shrinking pool of millennial viewers, accelerating the aging process of the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL fan bases. And younger adults who do engage in live sports via TV are snacking on games much the same way they engage on YouTube clips and TikTok videos. And TV ratings are predicated on duration. Impressions generated by younger viewers who routinely tune in for the last 2 or 3 minutes of NBA games aren't doing on ESPN or TNT. They're not doing any favors for them. So now, even with the primetime television getting people to watch shows, NBC Sunday Night Football this past season averaged 2.43 million adults 18 to 34. Now, still pulls a bigger audience for an older audience, but not the younger audience. But it's also 21% smaller than the year before. So younger people are just not watching television. It's not bothering. So as far as overall TV usage is concerned, the people in the back half of the dollar demo watch nearly 2.5 times more TV than their younger counterparts. So 35 to 49 years old still managed to watch 10 more hours per live week per TV per week than they do. So it's all changing in front of us. Now back to the TikTok information. What they've also learned from Business Insider is that TikTok's internal data sources, according to October 2020, they're half of all active users, 42%, are between the ages of 18 and 24. Because that's what they see on there right now. 17% are 13 to 17. 7% over the age of 45. Right here. And also, there's more. They're saying that there's going to be TikTok's want to roll out a new number of ad formats in the second half of 2021, so advertisers can show their products, retarget consumers who've shown an interest in their products, and highlight discounts and promotions. But again, the ads don't really come up too much. They're not as common as you think, and they blend in, which is the right way to advertise, believe it or not. At one point of the deck, TikTok claims that 47% of their users say they have bought something seen on TikTok in the past. 67% of its users agree TikTok inspired them to shop, even when they're looking to do so. So we get impulse buys. Well, I can tell you when I watch fast food, I'll tell you, by watching people chowing down right now on KFC's Nashville Hot Chicken makes me tempted to go get some myself. Just saying. Plus, Subway, there's a guy from Subway I watch all the time. I've gotten Subway since then. And the chicken sandwiches and people comparing them, the same thing. The advertisers are just doing it for themselves. It's just organic instead of being pushed down our throats. Great. And sometimes people talk about commercials and they kind of rip on them. And that's fun too. But again, these people, I just said it, but what we're learning is advertising is kind of happening subtly or subconsciously, subliminally. It's really interesting. So that's what we're learning all together. TikTok is doing something big right now. And that's why I keep following it. When TikTok now has more viewers on the younger side, that's where they're all watching. Keep that out. A fascinating story here on One on Podcasting. Come back for more in the next episode, and we'll talk to you next time.